Welcome to A Seat at the Table. I am Tigner Rand, and today joining me at the seat at the table are two distinguished young men who are part of the 100 Black Men of Chicago, doing a phenomenal job right in time for the holidays. They're gearing up for the annual toy drive. And to get kicked off, they're here to tell us a little information about it, where you can bring your gifts, your toys, and how the community can get involved with this year's toy drive in Chicago. Joining me is Adarious Payton and Ashton Clark. How are you gentlemen doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Outstanding. Before we kind of get into it, let everyone know who you are and what is your role with the 100 Black Men. Give a little synopsis of what the intent is, a little bit about 100. Everyone knows, but just in case we got a few who don't know who the 100 Black Men are, let us know who the 100 Black Men are, as well as what this special occasion is for the community.
You want to kick it off, or you want me to?
Yeah, for sure. I'll go ahead.
Kick it off. You go right ahead, brother. You make
go ahead, Ashton. Do your thing.
No. So Ashton Clark, a proud member of the 100 Black Men of Chicago, and I've been in the organization for almost 6-7 years now. It's been a while, but we do some great work. And one of the things that I'm most proud of, and I can say this publicly because it's true, I brought Adarious Payton into the 100 Black Men of Chicago. So it's a good feeling to know that you're partnering with a brother that you brought into the organization to do the great work that we do. But when you think about the 100 Black Men, one of our mottos or mantras, if you will, is what they see is what they'll be. And at the end of the day, that's all about mentorship. Right? How do we guide young people, specifically young Black men, but we have programs for young Black men and young Black women as well. But how do we enable them to reach their true potential through mentorship, especially from Black men? I think that's an exceptional thing about the 100 Black Men of Chicago, and really the 100 Black Men of America in general is about the mentorship aspect, because young people need it, and we provide those services year round.
Outstanding. Darius, you got anything you want to add to it?
Yeah, absolutely. So Ashton is right. So he did bring me into the organization in 2017. And one of the ways that I quickly got involved was through our holiday party and toy drive. So we've been having this event for now 23 years. It is one of our marquee events and one of the marquee holiday parties in all the Chicagoland area. Each year, we provide support to well over 20 organizations in the Chicagoland area. And we provide support, whether it be toys or monetary support, to organizations for families in need during the holiday season. So I can't tell you how befitting it is that in 2021, we're back in person and we're looking to actually have our biggest impact from a community engagement standpoint that we've had in the history of this event. So we're super, super excited about that. And as you can imagine, we're super, super excited to be back in person, although we do have some health and safety protocols that we will be adhering to make sure that we can gather in mass safely.
Outstanding. So I'm sure. So how has so far, we're still kind of going through this whole pandemic and COVID whatnot. Has that impacted you guys in any way, the organization, as far as being able to get participants to bring toys out so far?
Yeah, and maybe we should just kind of start with the way that we've structured this year, right? And Darius mentioned COVID-19, and that has changed a lot of organizations and a lot of the ways that you throw events, but we wanted to be deliberate in this year in throwing an event that kept our attendees' safety as our number one priority. At the end of the day, we're trying to raise money and collect toys to give the families in need, but we want to do so that our attendees are safe. And so to be quite transparent with you, we had to make a decision early on. What is the capacity of our event? And we wanted to make a capacity in terms of size that was appropriate for COVID-19 and keeping all of our attendees safe. So what I'll tell you, and this is just being transparent, we're selling tickets, right? But the way that we've set it up is in two ways, right? Historically, you could have brought a toy and, that would have gotten you entry into the event, but we've changed things a little bit, primarily because of COVID-19. So we had an early bird ticket where you could pay an amount of money, I believe it was $15, and you would be entitled to bring a toy, and then that would grant you entry into the event. Well, that's sold out within like a week or two. And so then we have a $35 general admission ticket, and with that ticket type, you do not have to bring a toy. And we're doing that because we want to make sure that we're keeping people safe and making sure that we have the right amount of toys to, enable us to have the right social distancing in the venue.
Exactly. How many families and children do you all anticipate that you'll be able to provide a joyous holiday for this year?
You know, that's always the tricky question because
Yeah.
we kind of always kind of forecast and have benchmarks. And fortunately, we've always exceeded them. So the last time we were in person, we collected over 2,500 toys
Wow.
that evening. And so typically, you know, we'll partner with about 20 organizations. And you can imagine, you know, if we assume a 2-to-1 type ratio, you're talking about more than 1,200 families that get, you know, some type of support on top of what these organizations are already providing from a service perspective. So
Wow.
we are in line to do something very similar. We'll be giving monetary support to over 16 organizations. And as Ashton mentioned, we are collecting a select amount of toys. So there are some organizations that we have long-standing relationships with that we still will give toys, but the lion's share of them will get monetary support, which is what we did last year.
Outstanding. Approximately how many organizations do you partner with each year?
It usually varies from 20 to 30.
20
So
to 30.
somewhere
Okay.
in that range.
And we're going to mention a couple of times throughout this our conversation, but this is the 100 Black Men of Chicago's 23rd annual toy drive holiday party, which is going to be held on Monday, December 13th. House of Blues of Chicago, 6 to 11 p.m.
Yes,
You
sir.
can also donate through your website at 100 BMC Black Men Chicago.org, bmc.org.
That's correct. You can get your tickets
So,
there too. Go
get
to
your
our
tickets and
website, 100bmc.org. You'll find an image of the toy drive. Click that, and it'll take you to our Black-owned ticketing platform. That's important, right?
Well, that's important. That really is important. So,
right.
is that something that that you all were able to create, or did you partner with another a Black-owned business for the ticketing?
Yeah, no, we had some brothers in the organization that built a ticketing platform, and we said, hey, why not work with them? So I'm proud of the organization for identifying, you know, brothers in the organization who created a ticketing platform that the 100 Black Men of Chicago have been using since 2019.
Awesome. So that's a good segue. Why is it so important for Blacks to do business with other Blacks?
Yeah, so Ashton's being modest. So Ashton is the co-founder of the ticketing platform called Ticket Falcon.
Yeah, he's being modest. You're right.
Right.
He's being real modest.
As you all know, if you've done events before,
go on, Darius.
Like,
Let's start over. Okay, Darius, you take over, and you go ahead and do the proper introduction of this for me. Thank you, Darius.
No problem. So the value proposition of the platform and the importance of doing business with brothers, but also Black-owned enterprises is, you know, no one takes care of us better than our own. And the value proposition of Ticket Falcon, in my humble observation, is there's less fees. So you're not paying those outrageous ticketing fees, thus making your consumer pay more money or eating into your profits. And you also get the money almost instantaneously. So typically when it comes to hosting events, you know, it's capital intensive. But when you're using a platform like Ticket Falcon, you're able to get some of that money up front so you can more comfortably commit to 30 organizations to support financially because you're paying less fees and you have the capital in hand that makes you feel a little bit more confident that you can do so. So this is our third time using that platform. It is the official ticketing platform of the 100 Black Men in Chicago, National Black MBA Association, and other, you know, Black prominent organizations
awesome.
that support our community.
That's awesome. Because the key thing you just said was in most platforms, you have to wait 30, sometimes 60 days just to be able to get that cash once the funds come into the pipeline. But to be able to get it almost instantly, that is a win within itself. So
you can see I have a salesperson. So I got to shout out Adarious because you did our sales pitch extremely well. But I want to call out one other thing too, and I think this is to your point, Tigner, that you mentioned earlier. I mean, when you think about how often does the Black dollar circulate in our community? Hours.
Yes, only hours opposed to it. You know, as much as we spend money in other communities, it can turn around 20 plus times. Hours come in and out within hours, like you stated.
Exactly. You know, and that's why we make it an effort. And I'm proud to be a member of the 100 Black Men in Chicago because we pride ourselves in this, but we have to support our own. right? If we don't support our own, who will? And so if you look at other communities, the dollar circulates for 20, 30 days, right? And so by us supporting Black-owned businesses, we're starting to implement the change we want to see.
That's awesome. So not to get too deep on it, but is it available outside of the Chicagoland area, or is it pretty much?
Yeah, absolutely. It's country. I mean, we're U.S. based. I mean, international, all over the world you can use it. But I mean, we have
that's awesome
all throughout the country, and I mean, Black-owned, minority certified, less expensive, instant payouts. And the last point I'll mention, not to spend too much time on this, we don't sell the attendee data that we collect. And that's another thing we start looking at these ticketing platforms. They'll collect your attendee information, remarket to them, or sell them to other people. And we don't do that.
Exactly. Wow, that's outstanding. And that's good that you're using, keeping it within the family too, which is very important. We have to learn how. Is that kind of some of the things that you teach through some of your mentor programs, the importance of doing business and how to, work and partner, network amongst your own community?
Absolutely. I mean, I can say Adarious and myself, and I mean, several other members that I know I'm very close with personally. I mean, I'm close with most of the members, not all, but I talk to several on a regular basis. I mean, when we speak in front of the mentor or mentees that we have in our program, it's all about sharing our experiences. And one of the biggest things that I've learned just in general is how powerful it is when other Black men uplift other Black men. Or when and I'm not trying to just say it's all about Black folks, regardless, your network needs to be beyond people of your race, right, if you will. But when I can tell you time and time again within the 100, how blessed I have been to have other brothers reach out and help me and bring me along the way. And that's what we try to share with our mentees, right? It's important to reach back and lift as you climb, right? And that's what we do on a regular basis.
Exactly. Either one of you can answer this question for me. Can you share, kind of piggybacking off what you just said, can you share 3 impactful initiatives that the 100 Black Men has done on society in the Chicagoland area?
I can speak to this one a bit more. So I'll first start with mentoring. So our mentoring sites, we have 4 in the Chicagoland area. They are all, not unfortunately, but they all are virtual now just because of COVID-19 and safety. But there's one on the south side, west side, western suburbs, and south suburbs. So peppered pretty evenly throughout the Chicagoland area. I mean, we really focus kind of on the 4 for the future. So education, health and wellness, economic empowerment, and mentorship, like that. Those are the cornerstones of the organization. And those 3 other cornerstones kind of drive the content. So that's one piece. The second piece is during COVID-19, we pretty much ramped up our virtual programming pretty significantly around health and wellness. It's no surprise that Black folks have been disproportionately impacted by COVID-19, whether it be economically, via health disparities, access to vaccines, et cetera, et cetera. So that was a huge initiative that really paid off dividends for the organization. And then I would say finally, it's just community impact. Like, I feel so proud when I put a blazer on, I got my 100 Black Men pin on, because the organization's only been around for under 30 years, and just the brand equity it has in the Chicagoland area is absolutely phenomenal. You talk about organizations like Black NBA or some of the Black Greek letter organizations who've been around for well over a century. 100 Black Men in Chicago was right there as it relates to community impact and brand equity. And we've done so in a very, 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 very short amount of time. So that also, I would say, is probably like the 3 experiences that really speak to me and keep me going, keep me galvanized, and keep me energized to do the work of the organization.
That's outstanding. Ashton, anything you'd like to add to that?
I mean, he summed that up well. I couldn't be prouder, right? You bring a brother in like Adarious, and he's just doing phenomenally. But one thing I want to share is, I mean, you think about the toy drive. I know we mentioned that, but as much as we say it's a holiday party, as far as we're concerned, it's about how do we make the maximum impact to the communities that we serve. It's nice to get everybody together. We want to have a good time in a safe way. But when you see those toys, or when we go to organizations and we give them the monetary contributions that we said that we would, or the toys, right? It changes. Right. It changes lives in that moment, because there could be a young person that wasn't going to get a toy, and now we've helped them with it. You think about our college scholarship fair, right? That is a phenomenal event, if you will, that we throw that even occurs over a period of days with some of the sessions we have beforehand and even the big event. But nonetheless, we have schools coming. And what I'll tell you is you have young people who are about to go to college, right? Who may have been doing something else post high school, now want to go to college, right? Regardless, right? They come in there and these schools have scholarships. I could tell you, I have a god brother who went to the 100 Black Men in Chicago college scholarship fair and pretty much got a full tuition to go to college, a full tuition scholarship. He went there, talked to them, they liked him, bam. He was like, Ashton, I got an opportunity to go to the school. And I'm like, that's the impact that we make, right? You think about value, right? Value can be captured, right? Or it can be created. At the end of the day, through the 100 Black Men in Chicago and 100 Black Men of America, period, we're trying to create value so that we can give it to others to take advantage of it and make their lives better.
Outstanding. Both of you all in leadership with the 100 Black Men. So if you would, we'll start with you, Ashton. Describe your leadership style.
Yeah, that is a great question. And when I was in business school too, I got asked this and I struggled with it, right? Until I started thinking about it. So I'll put it to you like this. I'm the type of leader that empowers others to do things they otherwise could not do without me. Think about that, right? That is a leader is not a micromanager. A leader is not going to be all up in your business, right? I mean, because there's a difference between leadership and management.
Yes,
right?
it is.
So,
yes, it is.
So when you ask me that question about leadership, it's about empowering. It's about delegating. It's about getting people to do things they just couldn't do unless they had you helping them to get there. And that's my leadership style. But the last thing I'll say is it's about having fun. So many times I've worked with other leaders that they're all about the business, but they can't take a second to smell the roses. But I'll tell you about Adarious and myself and how we lead the toy drive. We laugh all the time. And to be honest, some of the stuff is a little stressful, but we get through it because we're a family. We laugh and we have a good time. And that's how I would describe my leadership style.
Awesome. Darius?
Yeah, I'll piggyback off that. I think Ashton is spot on in the definition. There is a tight tension with leadership and management. And I like to take it a step further and just, I always say that leaders are not, what's the word I'm looking for? They're not content with the status quo. Mm-hmm. So literally, as it relates to our impact with the toy drive, the culture we have amongst our team, how well we plan, how well we execute, how well we are able to disagree but not be disagreeable, all the things that contribute to a winning culture, we like to think that we embody. And we've seen brothers start on the toy drive committee and go to chair membership, go to being on the marketing committee, or go to being a mentoring site lead. Very, very high visibility positions in the organization. So I'm a brother that's pretty laid back, as you probably can tell. But when it comes down to handle that business, though, we gonna handle that business.
It's all about that business. I understand.
And we gonna have a good time, but we gonna make sure that we're achieving what we're supposed to achieve. And I give people the opportunity to explore, fail fast. If it didn't work, that's okay. We'll course correct and we'll go forward. But what we can't accept is not trying.
I understand. How many do you have on your committee, on the actual toy drive committee? How many brothers are working?
So we have about, if you include the lovely Sharon troop, we have about a dozen individuals that that contribute. And to give you a little context, similar to the college scholarship fair, from a foot traffic standpoint, this is one of our larger events, and it's pretty complex because we got to get the toys, get inventory of all the toys, solicit organizations that we get from our membership, segment everything by age, by gender, and coordinate pickup, drop off. So
sanitize them.
Yeah, sanitize them. Right?
Yeah.
So I would think we need that capacity that we have built through our committee. We absolutely need every drop of it because it's quite an effort to pull this off.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure you got some of your wives on that team too, don't you now?
You said some of our wives. Hey,
your wives.
My wife.
Yeah.
The crazy thing about it, though, here's the thing. As much as I want to take credibility for what I do, it's all her, because she'll listen in sometimes and say, Ashton, and text me. I wouldn't do that. Here's what I do, and I'm like, that's a great idea. And and I'll tell you, for men that are married or thinking about getting married, when you have a great woman by your side, you have to better appreciate her and take her advice. And I take all her advice because it makes me look great.
You're right. You're absolutely correct. And brothers have to also understand that ego could be a very dangerous thing. And
Yes,
if a brother can learn how to set aside his pride and ego, he can become a phenomenal man.
absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
know, by nature, men are, we're taught, and by nature, we also have the ability and capability of leading. But sometimes we can be, kind of thick-headed as well,
Yeah.
But if you have, like you said, a right sister with you on your side, and she's grounded and got the right mindset, if you stop and listen, she can take you to another level.
And you hit the nail on the head. It's about elevation, right? And so I can tell you how, like, I look at this year, and I think this, at least as long as we've been involved in the capacities that we've been involved in, has been one of the most successful years that we've had. We're not even finished, right? We're about less than a week out, right? Because we have organizations and companies, entities that are interested in working with us because they know we don't play around. Right, we want to make sure that our sponsors are taken care of, that our patrons are having a good time, and at the end of the day, we have the toys and the money to be able to contribute to giving these families a brighter Christmas this year.
That's outstanding. In the case, do you ever get a chance to interact with the families that you give the toys to? And if so, what type of messaging do you try to, at least, relate to them?
That's a really, really good question. Over the 4 or 5 years now that, we've been kind of at the helm of leadership of this event, I've had so many countless interactions with various families, that we've supported through the work that we do through the 100 Black Men in Chicago. And a lot of times people are in tears, but like in all seriousness. And it's the small things, like even just a Walmart gift card. Like, it goes a long way. Like, now families are like, you know what? I've got this gift card. We can have a nice Christmas dinner, or I can go and get toys. It is just so touching. It always makes me think about A, how blessed I am, but B, how much more I could be doing. Because when God gives you a little excess, he expects you to share the wealth. But sometimes you gotta be reminded of that.
Yeah, you're right. That's truly what the word sacrifice means. Is that, how do well, actually it's a little opposite from that, but being able to give, when God provides you with the resources that you have, you're supposed to be able to use those. So it's not a personal thing for me to grow and build up my quote unquote empire, but how do I use that money wisely to help others, especially those who are in need?
Absolutely.
So what you guys are doing as an organization, as well as for this committee, that's a phenomenal thing, because so many people, especially since COVID, have been impacted. Jobs, loss of jobs, limited, income coming in, especially those who are hourly workers who don't have opportunity to even go out and want to work, and so this is a good way just to bring a little cheer up on people doing a good time of the year.
That's right. And I'll add one quick thing that I live by, but I try to make sure our committee understands this too, and this kind of will hit this point home, is that I live by the quote, and I believe Shirley Chisholm once said this some years ago, that service is the rent we pay for living. And so every time I wake up, I ask myself, have I paid my rent? And if I haven't, I need to do more. And so by us doing that, and you're right, once you get success or you've done something well, right, you need to give back. And I'm proud of the 100 Black Men in Chicago, because that's what we do, right? We do it every single day, and we'll continue to do it.
Yes, I agree with that. You guys mentioned this next question. You guys kind of mentioned, but I'd like for you to kind of go in detail. How has the 100 Black Men leveraged technology, especially during this COVID pandemic for the almost 2 years?
Yeah, we've really stepped our.
No, I mean, I'll kick it off really quickly. So technology has been the center point of what we've done over the last year and a half. We didn't have a choice. Most organizations, I'll tell you, just because I'm in the ticketing business, have struggled to maintain their relevancy because they didn't know how to make the transition from doing things in person to doing it virtually. And within the 100 Black Men, I think we're in a unique situation because we have different age ranges of brothers, right? Some brothers are really experienced in technology. And the great thing is about that is that they bring it to the table. And so we've been able to use all types of platforms to be able to, bridge the gap, if you will. I don't think we're going to be virtual only for the foreseeable future, right? I mean, as soon as things open up and we can do things in person, we'll get back to in person, but there's going to be a mix, right? In the kind of way I look at events, there'll be hybrid events, there'll be in-person only events, there'll be virtual only events, right? And so we have the tools in place that allow us to do this. But what I will tell you is that, and it's hard for me to say is because I appreciate virtual. I don't have to get out of my house, don't have to get in my car, but there is nothing like getting together with the people you care about and having a good time. Nothing, you can't do that virtually. And so by us bringing the toy drive back in a safe way, it's almost like a big family reunion. It's almost like a homecoming. People are coming out not only just to celebrate, give toys and contributions to us doing and achieving our mission, is getting back and just seeing people in a safe way.
Technology, virtual has changed a lot of things. It really changed the game of business. We've noticed it within our platform that it allowed us to do more business through technology. But you were spot on that so many businesses, small businesses, churches were unable to sustain because they did not know how to, make that turn.
Right.
Yeah. Darius, anything you want to add to that?
No, I think he captured it pretty well. I mean, we've pushed virtually. Obviously, there's a balance there because you can get Zoom fatigue. Done more stuff with automated text messages and email, and made upgrades to our website. So even as it relates to the toy drive, I mean, we digitized the entire process, even though we're going to be in person. So, we'll be checking people in with tablets and, taking out a lot of the high touch interaction because we want people to be safe.
Right.
Understand. Yeah. Ashton, you already gave me a quote. You have a favorite business or professional quote, Adarious, that you is kind of your mantra?
There are so many that come to mind.
Give us a couple of them.
Man, I do think one of my favorite mantras is the Serenity Prayer. I don't know if you're familiar with the words, but
yes,
the part that resonates the most with me is the courage to know the difference. You're talking about the fervor to change things that you can, but having that discernment to know when to put up that fight versus when not to. So I lean into that pretty heavily because it helps kind of keep me to my North Star, if you will, as I think about what I want to accomplish. What I want to be, what I want in that dash, when it's time to make my transition, I'm worried about that dash. Did I make an impact? Did I have a good time? How did I make people feel? And certainly the families that we help during this toy drive, man, it makes you feel good when you are able to give some smiles.
Wow. Any of you guys fathers?
No, not yet.
Okay. Yeah, because by you saying that, it's reminding me we have a thing we call a father coach club. Just always, how do you leave a legacy for I'll ask you the question from where both of you guys are now in leadership within the organization as well as professionally on your job and in your community. What does legacy mean to you, and how do you foresee leaving a legacy for your community?
That's an exceptional question. And I'll tell you, for me, legacy is impact. See, people don't remember always the money that you have, the successes that you've been able to attain over your life. They remember how you made them feel. And when you actually think about that and you break that down, it's like treat people with respect, right? And you'll get respect back, right? And that's kind of how I think about legacy and what I want to leave behind. I want people to remember me because of how I made them feel, what they were able to accomplish by the interactions with me. The money, it's nice to have money. Don't get me wrong. We want to be able to earn a living and do those things, but more money, more problems. And I've learned that over time. So it's more about the people in my life and what I'm leaving behind, right? Put the money aside. It's like, I want to enjoy life. I want to have good moments. I want to have good experiences. And I think that's what legacy is about. Like if God willing, enables me and my wife to have kids one day, which I'm hoping that he does. It's about putting them and setting them up to remember what it means to be a leader, what it means to be a God-fearing man or woman. Like instilling that, and as we mentioned fatherhood, I couldn't be more excited about that opportunity, because you have an opportunity to start to nurture someone that you helped create. Right. And so that's when I look at legacy, I would look at my kids actually. And once my kids have gone through, high school and college, am I proud? And I look at like my parents and, my godparents and my aunts and my uncles. And they've always told me that, like I look at you and your brother and your sisters, right? And I want to be able to, if I were to see you in the newspaper, open it up and be proud. And that's what legacy means to me.
Awesome. That was a great answer.
Yeah. And my response is eerily familiar, like many other responses. I think legacy is impact. I do think it's how you made people feel. And I also think it's maximizing opportunity. I'm not in the school of thought that people are here by accident. Like you were put here by a higher being, flesh was put on your body, and there's purpose on your life.
Yes.
Sometimes how that purpose manifests itself, may not necessarily materialize how you think it should materialize, but you're here for a reason. You woke up this morning for a reason, and there is a calling on your day. And so those things matter to me. I do pray that I'm fortunate enough to have children with my fiance and future wife, and similar to Ashton. One of the things that motivates me, I can't say I had the perfect childhood, but it's being able to provide the things that I didn't get. The guidance that I didn't get, having a consistent male figure in the house, not having to get on YouTube to learn how to tie a tie, should I have a son, just things like that, that sometimes, again, get taken for granted, but mean the world of difference, because it ends up, you end up creating moments that matter.
Yes.
And that's really, really key.
Wow. Yeah, that was outstanding. I like that. Any books? What books do you think young brothers or even men should be reading? What 2 books you think we should read that'll help elevate us to be better?
Well, I'll give one, and this is one that I got in an early age: Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Good
right?
book, yeah.
I mean, and I think when you start to understand what it means to be wealthy versus rich, hold a whole different point of view there, right? But that cemented some things in my life about, the decisions that I make are super important. So let me figure out how I can make the best decisions while still leading a life that I'm proud of, right? The second one would be from good to great. That is an important thing to think about, right? A lot of people think that they're great, but they're really not, right? Until you get into a circle with other people that are smarter than you. And yes. I learned that, right? If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
You're in the wrong room, that's right.
You're in the wrong room, right? And so what I've always tried to do is challenge myself by getting into rooms where I'm not the smartest person. And that has been the best opportunity for me to grow and go from being good to ultimately great.
Yes, iron sharpens iron. So you have to be in something that's better and greater than you, so that it'll be able to be sharpened from it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. So I'm gonna be a little unconventional. One of the best books I think anybody can read is the Bible.
There you go. I thought about that, but you're right about that.
Yeah.
A book I'm reading now that's been helpful is Peace Every Step. It's about mindfulness, about how you can proactively get control of your thoughts in your mind. Because though it sounds like it's very easy to do, it's not.
It's not.
Another really powerful book I read it's by Dale Carnegie. I'm going to transpose the title a little bit, but it's about making friends and learning how to influence others. And it basically tells you how relationships are the centerpiece of life, whether it be professional, romantic, like all the relationships that you have in your life kind of manifest themselves and they make your experience. And people are very, very fragile creatures. We have emotions and we have all this wide spectrum of things that make us who we are and identities. And he really kind of lays out, this is an old book, but he really lays out like how important it is to remember someone's name. Like just being able to do that and say it the correct way. Like going up to them, asking them how they want to be addressed. I know in COVID, like the pronouns question got really, really popular. But it's true. Like people have the autonomy and the agency to dictate how they want to be referred to. So like little things like that, I feel like is what take from a leadership perspective, take you from good to great.
And you're looking for how to win friends and influence people. I think that's the book you're referring to, right? Like, Yep. Okay.
Okay. What do you guys do professionally outside of 100 Black Men?
So I am a brand marketer by trade. So for any listener that is under the age of 21, close your ears. I work at Molson Coors Beverage Company, formerly known as Miller and Coors Brewing Company. Those are the legacy parents. I am, a marketer. So just standing up our retail plans and marketing strategies and all that stuff, all that fun stuff. That's what I do for a living.
That's awesome. How long have you been a part of the brand?
So I've been in the brand world for just over a year, but I've been with the organization for almost 8 years in a collection of different roles: sales, business analytics. I even went to IT for a little while. In my short tenure, I've had a diverse set of experience.
I see. Knowledge is power. What is your undergrad? What did you major in, and what college?
And so I went to DePaul University here in Chicago, majored in economics. I liked my experience so much, I went twice. Went back for business school. I got my MBA. Another thing that Ashton was a catalyst in me pursuing. So my MBA is in just general management and marketing. So I did that to kind of round out my skill set, do some additional networking, but as well as be able to position myself so I can sound sophisticated like Ashton does. when I'm on calls like this, so folks think they know what I'm talking about.
You're doing that, Darius. So for me, what I do, so I work at McCormick, and you're probably familiar with McCormick and Company for spices and flavors. And my role is I'm responsible for SAP analytics globally at the company.
Oh, wow.
So been there since March, and it's been a phenomenal experience, especially to work for a company where flavors are everywhere. You think about us, we love flavors, and we got the flavors. So I enjoy the experience, and it's been very eye-opening to do the work that I do there. Then also outside of that, of course, we mentioned Ticket Falcon. So I am the CEO and co-founder of Ticket Falcon, which is a Black-owned event management and ticketing platform, which enables instant payouts for our event organizers.
Awesome. Where's your 10 undergrad?
So undergrad, I attended the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. So I have a degree in accounting and engineering. So I did both because I wanted to be able to speak both languages, right? Understand the fundamentals of business and the fundamentals of engineering. And then to be able to have, to cross over is extremely important for the work that I do, especially when I've been in IT as an entrepreneur in administrative data and so forth. And then for business school, I went to the Kellogg School of Management in Northwestern, and similar degree as Master's in Business Administration in Management.
Outstanding. Two smart brothers.
We're trying.
Yeah.
What I will tell you though is that it's when we think about like what we just said about going to University of Illinois and then going to Northwestern, I look at a lot of those opportunities at the college scholarship fair. A lot of those institutions are there, but it's a blessing for us to be able to even have done those things. But what I'll tell you that both of us do, which is super important just to note, is that we're trying to bring as many others into these institutions as we can. Because it's not just good enough for us to have graduated from those schools. Wonderful. We got the degree. Means nothing unless I look at a class and see others that look like me. Because if the class is not diverse, the students in that class aren't learning what they need to. And so we pride, I'll speak on behalf of Adarious because I guess I can do that because I know he does it. But we pride ourselves on introducing others to the opportunities so they can be best aware of taking advantage of things that can fundamentally change their lives.
Awesome. And that's a great attitude to have. And if you stop and think of how many brothers and sisters older than us, as well as upcoming, if they would have had that same attitude, where would our society be now? Because a lot of times, some people, I got mine, you get yours. And that's
Right.
really the wrong attitude. It's more, it should be exactly what you just said. I got mine. Now who can I bring along with me?
Right.
And going back to Adarious, if one sheep is lost, what are you supposed to do, Adarious?
You gotta go find that sheep.
All right.
The herd cannot be missing one.
That's right. So, which I commend you and everything coming full circle, that I hear this. I know what the 100 Black Man is of America is across this country.
Mhm.
And it is a footprint in pretty much all the major markets, such as the Chicagoland area. But the mission overall is the same. And if that continues, there are enough young brothers and some sisters who are going to be able to be uplifted and motivated to do great things if you guys continue doing what you're doing.
Absolutely.
For sure, absolutely.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. Before we close out, man, I want both of you, if you can finish this sentence for me. Never give up on yourself because. Never give up on yourself because.
You are destined for great things.
Ooh, that's
Okay.
good.
Okay.
That's good. Never give up on yourself because.
You asking the great question. I tell you right now, these are great
I know,
questions.
that's some great questions. That's some great questions. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'd never give up on yourself because if you count yourself out, everyone else will.
Oh, that's real.
There you go.
That is real. So yeah, because if you give up on yourself, no one else is gonna think about you.
Very
Period.
true. Very true.
So if no one else, if you don't have no one else on your team, you got to have yourself. And it goes back to the book that you read. The mind.
Mhm.
The mind is a dangerous tool because you can talk yourself out of a blessing. You can talk yourself out of greatness because your mind is telling you what you can't do.
Exactly.
So, brothers, I enjoyed this conversation with you. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking with Ashton Clark, Darius Payton, the 100 Black Men of Chicago. This is all to culminate for a great event, holiday party, which will be taking place on Monday, December 13th, with time between 6 and 11 p.m. At the House of Chicago Blues. You're having your holiday party, which also kind of encompasses the toy drive as well. You can get tickets and donate at www.100bmc.org. That's 100 Black Men of Chicago.org. In closing, there's any words that you would like to leave to the audience before we break away?
Purchase your tickets and donate so that we can help more families in need across the city of Chicago.
Outstanding. Adarious?
Man, that pretty much sums what I was thinking. We're gonna party with a purpose. We're gonna have a good time, y'all. We're gonna have a good time. But we also are gonna have an even bigger impact.
Exactly.
Okay. You got a DJ or you got a live band?
Both.
Both? Oh, wow.
We ain't playing, man. We got both. I told you we ain't playing. We got both.
So the
we have
DJ
Delivery
got
Point
tired, you
Band.
got the live band.
Yeah.
We got the live
Delivery
band
Point
get tired,
Band.
you flip over to the DJ.
Exactly. So we got Delivery Point Band, who is they've been with us for years. They play all up and down the Chicagoland area. Folks are probably familiar with them. We got our old school versus new school DJ battle. So representing the old school, we got DJ Mark Flavor, who also is another staple DJ in Chicago. House head, Chicago through and through. And then we got my boy DJ Just One, who is an up and coming younger brother, event curator, experiential marketer extraordinaire. He'll be representing the new school. So we're gonna have a good time.
Wow.
The dance floor is gonna be open.
It will be.
There is no reason for anyone to sit down. So you got a myriad of sound coming through. So there's no way that a person should have time to sit down.
Yeah, no sit down.
Correct.
Remember, wear your mask.
Right.
And let me say this too, because I think this is equally as important, right? So masks are required to be worn unless actively drinking or eating. And then secondly, this is, I think, very important too. There's a clear bag policy at the House of Blues. So make sure that if you're bringing a bag that it's within their guidelines, it has to be clear. Or if you're a woman, you can wear, bring a very small, clutch
bag.
But
Yeah.
bags have to be clear in order to enter the facility. And then also, you have to make sure that you either had your vaccination and you've had the time to go through to make sure that you're properly vaccinated, whether you had your first dose or second dose, and you bring your vaccination card because the House of Blues will be checking that, or show that you've had a negative COVID test within 72 hours of the event starting.
Wow.
So we're taking these precautions for COVID-19 very seriously because yes, we want to party with the purpose on a Monday, but we want people to be as safe as we can possibly make them. And these are just rules also that the House of Blues embody, which is another reason why we partner with them for this.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that was a good takeaway. Yeah, that's very important. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we have been talking with two phenomenal brothers out of the Chicagoland area with 100 Black Men of Chicago for their upcoming holiday party, which will be on December the 13th, which is this coming Monday from 6 to 11 p.m. at the House of Blues of Chicago. And you can get tickets and make donations at www.100bmc.org.
Absolutely,
We thank you very much for your time. We thank you for all the greatness that you do. Continue to be great brothers. Continue to uplift and elevate our community. In all things, always be of good cheer. Thank you, brothers, and make it a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.